On air, online, on demand. Watch AFR when you want, where you want with CN8, the Comcast network.
Okay, now it's time for the big story in a small town. You know, gas is so high right now that people are doing whatever they can to cut back on driving. But what do you do when you're done using your old car? What do you do with it? Well, how about building something with it? Well, that's what they're doing in Hooper, Utah, a small town just north of Salt Lake City, where one farmer there is causing quite a ruckus because of his new fence. Take a look at his new fence. This is Rhett Davis's fence, and it's made out of cars and colorful paint. He calls the creation Redneck Stonehenge, and it was made after some complaints about Davis's farm by his neighbor. Well, let's get Rhett on the phone right now, and let's see what's on his mind. Hey, Rhett, are you there?
Well, howdy, howdy.
Howdy, howdy. Nice hat, by the way, and sunglasses. We're looking at your picture.
Thank you.
So you took your old cars and you stuffed them in the dirt and called it a fence. Is that pretty much it?
Yes, sir. And, at the same time, I wanted to make a point, and stand up for, farmers all around that these new communities that move in, that's fine, come on in, but you're getting into a farming community, you kind of have to deal with what goes along with that, the smell and the flies and so forth.
Yeah, you're making a point. Now, how typically when you're out in the country, your next door neighbor may be a couple of miles away. How close is your nearest neighbor?
Oh, I'd say they're within probably about half a block.
Half a block. Okay,
yeah.
And you've got we're looking at some pictures now. You just stuff these cars and trucks and stuff into dirt. How many of them do you have out there?
Well, I started with 3, and it's been growing from that, what would a redneck be without his own backhoe? And that's how this whole thing started, was just digging a big old hole out there in the backyard.
Yeah.
At the first, one of the neighbors thought I was planting a tree. Well, something like that, Hoss. I planted a tree, all right, but it was made out of steel. Came from Detroit.
made out of steel, and it's from Detroit. I see you got a couple of old SUVs out there. And now you are a self-proclaimed redneck, is that right?
Yes, sir.
You know, Jeff Foxworthy, the comedian, he says, how do you know when you're a redneck? I guess one of the answers for you is you plant old cars in your backyard, huh?
And that's a big 10-4.
That's a big 10-4. So what have the neighbors been saying about this? They're not too happy, are they?
Well, there's been a few feathers that I've ruffled, I guess. And I tried to stress to everybody that I am doing this in fun. I don't want to have to be hateful and, go out and be mean. But I also, at the same time, wanted to stress my point. But I think some of the neighbors, some of them don't know what to think, and then some of them are a little bit upset seeing, a few cars sticking up there and, seeing a Chevrolet or Ford emblem in their, picture window.
Yeah, and do you tell them that after all this is your land and you can do whatever the heck you want to do out there on it?
Well, and I tried to stress that as well with them, and that, if they wanted to maybe put up a fence, that, I wouldn't have a problem. And that's kind of why the whole thing started is, the complaining of the different smells and so forth, and then not wanting to put in a fence because they still want to look at a park atmosphere but not have what goes along with it.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow.
Yeah. How many acres do you have out there?
Well, it's gone down now quite a bit. We used to farm over 200 now, and I've dropped down to just a little over a half a dozen.
Okay. No, you have a half a dozen cars? That's what you just said?
Over half a dozen acres, and then I've got a lot more than half a dozen cars, but I don't know if I'm going to push all of them in the ground yet or not.
How many cars do you have in the ground, and how many do you have still sitting around waiting to be planted?
Well, there's, 18 cars that haven't been planted yet. And there's from one corner to the other corner, we got about 6 that are sitting up, kind of spread far in between each other.
Yeah. Well, hey, Rhett, you're an interesting fellow.
Well, thank you.
And they say art is subjective, and it's all in the eye of the beholder. And if you like cars in the dirt and call it a fence, then, hey, more power to you.
Well, thank you for your support. I really think it's great.
All right. Well, Rhett, give all of our best to the folks over there in, is it Hooper?
Yes, in Hooper.
Okay. All right. Good luck. Good luck to you.
If you guys are ever out here in Hooper, you come on by and I'll throw an extra steak on the barbecue for you.
Man, I'll make sure of it. Okay,
all right.
It's a deal. Okay? See you
Okay.
later. All right, that's Rhett, and a very interesting fella with his cars planted as a fence.